first grade PE, he has Mets, right? There's a few others, but Mustafa ended up in our advisory. And thinking back, back to first grade, I've always enjoyed being around Mustafa. He's chill, he's fun, he's funny, all that stuff. But I think part of it is like now, as an eighth grade advisor, I'm really kicking myself for not spending more time with him because he is so cool. And I really got to enjoy hanging out with him this year because he is really bright, really funny, and a wonderful friend. So with that said, he's written a really nice me speech, worked really hard on it, and I'm happy that he gets to share that today. So, ready to go? All right, Mustafa.
Yesterday's history is always a mystery, but today is again. That is why it's called the present. This quote was said by Master Wu from Kung Fu Panda. When I was searching up for quotes on Google like any other normal person, I found this quote and I decided to use it because Kung Fu Panda is a pretty good movie, and I know I can't what else to put. But it's still a pretty nice quote. It helps you be more aware of how lucky you are to be living today. I guess if this speech doesn't become remembered as one of the top 10 disasters of 2024, it can be remembered as a speech with the Kung Fu Panda quote. Anyways, I'm going to be talking about my physical, academic, and social life, as well as some stuff about myself. As a young child, I didn't really play many sports. The only sport I did do until the third grade was swimming, which could be fun, but I soon became bored of it and it took up most of my energy for the day. But in the third grade, my mom signed me up for beginner's tennis class at the local indoor racket club. It was me, my sister, and 2 other kids. At first, we just learned different tennis swings, but when we were ready to start hitting balls, he brought out a cart full of tennis balls and balls to practice table. On my first attempt to hit a forehand, my racket missed the ball by a good 2 inches and almost hit someone else. I realized that just hitting a tennis ball wouldn't take practice because I needed timing and precision if I actually wanted to make it over the net. As I kept on playing, I got better and I improved significantly. By the 4th grade, I was actually able to hit the ball more straight rather than up. But then there was a COVID pandemic and everyone was quarantined. At that time, I wasn't really able to do any sports, but in the 6th grade, I tried doing lacrosse in the spring. And it was pretty fun since I hadn't played any other sports since 4th grade. Going into the season, I had no idea how to pick up the ball or shoot. I also had no idea what the rules were, but I knew it was a contact sport, so I figured I could just push a few people around here and there and be done with it. I seen it as it wasn't that easy at all, because compared to a lot of other kids on the team, I wasn't very strong on hitting. An example of this is when we were doing ground ball drills, where 2 people try to get the ball before the other while also trying to fend them off. But I was paired up with Will, which was twice as big as me. I decided to take this lightly, which is a huge mistake. Our coach threw the ball and told me and Will to go. I sprinted towards the ball and almost got there until Will stick checked me and I flew about 5 feet to the side. But when I wasn't getting tossed around the field, being a part of the team was actually really fun. Every time we rode to champions straight to the band, we argued about which song would be played and who would get to choose them. And every single time, Will would suggest that we play Imagine Dragons instead of Many Men by 50 Cent. We also went to a speedway after practice one day and got circus. We didn't end up playing lacrosse after that, but it was still pretty fun. In the 7th grade, I decided to try out tennis again because I hadn't done it for a long time. On the first practice, I noticed that I definitely needed to start practicing more because I had gone significantly worse. I also had to relearn the rules of tennis. Sitting up, I started playing better and I signed up to play matches. Playing tennis in the 7th grade helped me remember how much I loved playing it. I practiced tennis a lot over the summer. After that, I also played against Elliot, where I lost 5-3, but it's about 90 degrees outside and I was sick. This year I did squash in the winter. I did squash in 3rd and 4th grade, but I didn't really remember the rules for how to hit the ball. But with a quick refresher, I remember the rules of how to play. I put in lots of practice and effort into squash, and I was ranked 4th on the team. Soon enough, it was time for my first game. I was really nervous and I didn't know if I could do it. The first game, I wasn't moving much and I wasn't very energetic, which made me lose that game. But I learned from my mistakes and I won the match. When I was younger, I always thought that school could be enjoyable. But let's just say that middle school isn't exactly anyone's idea of fun. There's a lot more work and responsibility compared to lower school. There's also points and detentions, but one great thing about middle school is the clubs and activities that you can choose to do. I decided to participate in some things like KYA, Internet Robotics. I've been doing KYA since the 6th grade, but I decided not to be good this year to focus on my main project at school. I learned about KYA and from my sister. KYA is a conference where many schools from across the state of Kentucky come and present bills that they've created based on the issues in Kentucky. Doing is kind of the same thing, except instead of making bills in Kentucky, you're assigned a country and you can choose to either create a bill or make a poster resembling the country. They both also happen to be in a hotel, so it was pretty fun to stay overnight with your friends in a hotel room. When I started KYA in the 6th grade, I was put into a group and our bill's topic was student homelessness. We spent around 3 months perfecting our bill, and we were ready to present at the conference. I thought it would be easy, but I was very wrong. When we presented our bill, 90% of the room voted to not pass our bill. Even though our group hadn't done it very well, I had a lot of fun that during the rest of the conference. This year I got to be a leadership chair, and I was really excited, mostly just because I was allowed to bang a gavel and tell people what to do. Even though I wasn't the best chair, I think it was a good chance to improve my public speaking. Last year when picking out our club's activities for the fall, my mom suggested that I try something new. I wasn't too thrilled about this because there weren't really any other clubs I'd interested in. My mom looked through the options and said that I should try robotics. I decided to trust her and I joined the club. And going into the season, I had no idea what I was supposed to do in robotics, but I learned that it was actually competitive content. When I joined, I was really confused and I had no idea how to do anything. But I was really lucky to have a supporting team and coaches to help me learn. I wasn't able to attend the regional competition that year, but we won and we advanced to state. At state, I was really overwhelmed with excitement because I'd never done anything like this before. I was really nervous to see if we win or not. We didn't do very badly in the tournament, but we were still nervous because there were about 5 people that were ahead of us. Then came the award ceremony. After what felt like an hour's suspense, they were announcing who would be advanced to Worlds, and everyone was excited. To our surprise, our team name was called, and we all ran down to get our award. We won state and were advanced to Worlds. Worlds was even more exciting than state because you had teams from all around the world competing. Being at Worlds was a great experience, and now that we have just won state this year, we are advancing to Worlds again. Now, in my neighborhood, there aren't really any kids my age that I knew. I mostly just saw a bunch of old people walking around. But this changed when my mom met someone else who had recently moved in. My mom told me she had a son that was my age. My mom took me to meet him, and the instant he saw me, he asked if I wanted to ride bikes with him. I agreed, and we both rode around the neighborhood, and it turned out that we liked a lot of the same things. Afterwards, we came back to his house, where my mom was still talking to his mom. So we went inside his house and played video games. After that day, we rode our bikes together every weekend, talking about video games and stuff we liked. A few years later, he introduced me to some other kids in my neighborhood who I didn't even know existed. We were close to them as well because there aren't really any other kids my age besides mine. Another great memory I had was at Maverick sleepover in the 3rd grade. The first thing I saw when I arrived was someone holding up an earth and shouting at me through a window. But when I went inside to put up my stuff, I remember being ambushed. The whole day was full of fun things like playing air hockey, pop shot, and of course when Maverick threw a bowl of pop in our mouths. When we finally settled down and went to our beds, we prank called a bunch of people on Maverick's Alexa. Then when Maverick and Bobby both fell asleep, Jack and Miles decided to pile a bunch of things on top of them. So Maverick's mom came in to check on us, saw us just as we were finishing up burying Maverick and Bobby. I tried to pretend I was sleeping and threw Jack and Miles under the bus, but I'm not a very good liar. Even though I only got 3 hours of sleep that night and I was really tired the next day, I had a lot of fun. Throughout my life, there have been many important moments. One of these, for example, is when I got glasses. When I was little, I always had pretty good eyesight. And whenever I went for checkups with the eye doctor, I did pretty well on the test. But around the end of 3rd grade, I noticed that my eyesight was getting worse and I had no idea why. But looking back on it, I'm pretty sure it was because I used to have staring contests with the sun. Anyways, I was told that getting glasses would probably be a good idea because my eyesight was getting more blurry. At first, I was really happy to be able to get glasses. If only I had a time machine to smack some sense to my younger self. Having glasses really does suck because if you accidentally touch the lenses, they get smudged. Then it makes it harder for you to see, and then you finally have to get wiped it off again. Another important moment is when I got my first pet. My first pet was a simple fish. It felt pretty nice to have my own pet, so it died the next day. Right when I came up with the perfect name for it. We eventually got a couple more fish after that, but then they died too because when it's 7 in the morning and you're getting late for school, feeding your fish is the least of your worries. After that, we got 4 more fish, and they actually lasted a while. But then they got flushed down the toilet too. Me and my sister got pretty tired of fish, so we asked for other things like a dog or a cat. But then my sister came up with the idea of getting chickens. So one day they went up to a store and bought about 7 chicks. They were given the option to buy unhatched ones so we could watch them hatch when my parents are no fools. Often they knew from our experience with fish that we'd probably forget about the eggs after a day or two. Anyways, when we got the chicks, we had to set them up in a little box where we had to keep them, food, and water. The next morning, my dad found out that 5 of them died and only 2 were left. The 2 chickens grew up after a while and started laying eggs. That's pretty good for some time, but then my aunt came over to our house and gave us a bunch of other chickens for us to keep. It was doing great for a while because we were getting a whole lot of eggs, but we learned that there was a rooster among the chickens that got. So every morning it would crow very loudly. Eventually we had to give it away because it made too much noise. Honestly, we should have cooked it up. We also had to give away the rest of our aunt's chickens because it took a lot of work to clean the food, as they would jump out and try to escape. That left us down to our 2 original chickens. My sister took the big gray one and I took the small one. It seemed like a pretty good idea because my sister's chicken and I didn't have the best relationship. They would peck me really hard when I tried to give food. We also ended up giving these chickens away too because my parents noticed that me and my sister weren't really tending to the chickens anymore. Something a lot of people might not know about me is that I actually learned how to cook stuff over the last few years. I can actually make a variety of meals now. I decided to learn how to cook because the only things I knew how to make were a bowl of cereal and a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Cooking is not only a useful life skill, but it's also great for preoccupying your mind. Okay, now on to my dedications. I guess since I made it this far, my speech hasn't turned out to be a disaster. Or maybe it did. I guess I'll just have to find out later on YouTube. Anyways, my first dedication is to my parents. They've always been there for me, and they're always wanting for me to be successful. My next dedication is to my sister. She told me that I was obligated to dedicate her to my speech because she dedicated me in her speech or whatever. What I do know is that she's a very persistent and dedicated person because she tries very hard each and every day to become my parents' favorite child when she notices it. Obviously, it's me. My last dedication is Mr. Boyd. Mr. Boyd is probably one of my favorite teachers because I've been in this class in the 1st grade and every grade since 59. This year I was fortunate enough to be in his advisory. And the best thing is that his advisory is in the gym, so we get to play football or basketball. And he doesn't usually get mad. Even when he does, he handles the situation in a calm manner. Like when I try to make a half-court shot with basketball, but airball, and I had a bunch of PE equipment. Instead of yelling at me, he told us to go to the other side of the gym and play there so we wouldn't hit anything else. Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, and today's a gift. That's why it's called the present. To all the people listening to my speech today, usually when I give out advice, I'm terribly wrong. But something I know is a good advice to live by is to live your life to the fullest. And do things you've always wanted to do. Do something that you enjoy because you never know if you'll be allowed to do that the next day. Thank you for listening to my speech.